What up guys, John Dalama here speaking to you, and I found something very interesting on the internet. I found a meme. Well, not really a meme, but it's very funny. I found something that says, grab the nearest book, turn to page 45, and the first sentence describes your sex life. That is pretty weird and pretty interesting too, now that you think of it. So, I decided to do this, and I asked my friends if they want to do this. They say, hell yeah, why not? So, we decided to do things differently. Well, I decided to do things differently. Instead of reading the first sentence, we're going to read the first full paragraph. So, we're going to see how this goes.
Okay, I'm going to be reading a passage from the bottom. So, from page 45. Soon the singing was over, and it was time to feast and dance. The Jarl and his bodyguard led the way into the great hall. There the tables groaned under the weight of roasted chicken and newly baked bread. Mountains of cheese towered over the trestles. Lakes of honey gleamed on the bowls. The smell of ale filled the air. The brewers were already filling huge jacks of it. And the drinking horns were being passed from hand to hand. Oli grinned at him and passed him a leather tankard. Ragnar threw the bitter-tasting brew like he'd seen the old warriors doing. This was not the weak beer reserved for boys. This was the feast day drink for warriors. It was strong and potent. The bubbles made him sputter, and the strong bitterness of it surprised him. Oh my god. He held it down, though he did not disgrace himself, downing the whole tankard in a few gulps and admiring the applause of his comrades. Okay.
Finally, he got so fired up that he got in there and took a back body drop himself to show us, catching so much air that his foot hit one of the beams on the ceiling. All of a sudden, from one of the doors, I heard a woman scream out, "Michael Sean Hickenbottom!" "What are you doing?" It was Carol, Sean's mom. Oh my god. And she gave him an earful in front of all of us for going against doctor's orders. Instantly, he stopped after being the superstar wrestler, Shawn Michaels, and turned into a son being scolded by his own mother. Most of us think, I put that wrong, bro.
Just keep going.
Most of us, I think, shy away from this kind of cultivation of acquaintances. We have our circle of friends to whom we are devoted. Acquaintances we keep at arm's length. The reason we don't send birthday cards to people we don't really care a great deal about is that we don't want to feel obligated to have dinner with them or see a movie with them. We visit them when they're sick. That's it.
When she opened her eyes, all four were smilingly erect and singing lustily. Paul's trained body had instantly recovered itself. U.B. Blake, the show's composer and conductor. I can't, let me start again.
Go again.
When she opened her eyes, all four were smilingly erect and singing lustily. Paul's trained body had instantly recovered itself. U.B. Blake, the show's composer and conductor, later recalled that for an instant he feared the huge new king was going to fall right into the orchestra pit. That boy will bear watching, U.B. said. Anybody who can nearly fall like that and come up with $1 million smile has got some personality. For toppers, Paul's solo rendition of All Black Joe brought down the house. With the omens so auspicious, we decided to accept Cody Wilber's offer to go to London, England with Taboo.
Normally, when you're a teenager, even a fat one, you entertain notions of unfolding into a glorious creature who sparkles, who turns heads when she enters a room. You know you're not a finished product, but by that point I was so tired and so beaten that I often felt finished. It was hard to imagine myself in a better future. That's the first paragraph. That is terrible. adorable. Yeah.
But by and by, he said he would return as soon as he felt himself baptized again. For the nonce, however, he proposed to snail about and sow his wild oats in all 4 oceans. Girls don't have that many holes. They had made a harpooner out of him. And that barbed iron was in lieu of a scepter. So he grew a shit. This is me. So I got a big ass.
You'd get blood on the seats when they drove you to the emergency room.
No. Oh,
Mike Newton could have held your hand while they stitched you up, and he wouldn't be fighting the urge to kill you the whole time he was there. Don't try to take any of this on your own, Bella. It would only make me more disgusted with myself.
That means you got ripped by that scepter, boy.
Their object seems to be to disgust their slaves with freedom by plunging them into the lowest depths of dissipation? I don't know what the word is. For instance, the slaveholders not only like to see the slave drink of his own accord, but will adopt various plans to make him drunk. One plan is to make bets on their slaves as to who can drink the most whiskey without getting drunk. And in this way they succeed in getting whole multitudes to drink to excess. Thus, when the slave asks for virtuous freedom, the cunning slaveholder, knowing his ignorance, cheats him with a dose of dissipation, are artfully labeled with the name of liberty. The most of us used to drink it down, and the result was just what might be supposed. Many of us were led to think that there was little to choose between liberty and slavery. We felt, and very properly too, that we had almost as well be slaves to man as to woman. So when the holidays ended, we staggered up from the filth of our wallowing, took a long breath, and marched to the field, feeling upon the whole rather glad to go from what our master had deceived us to believe was freedom back to the arms of slavery.
There is realism too in Mother Rigby's reaction to her creation. She begins in a spirit of fun, both enjoying and mocking her scarecrow. "Puff, darling, puff," she said. "Puff away, my fine fellow. Your life depends on it." As the spell begins to work, she claps her hands in a mixture of Faustian glee and pure craftsmanlike pleasure at her success. When the scarecrow makes a feeble attempt to stand, her impatience is roused.
As for me, I come across 2 people so far, and exactly both of them had wanted nothing to do with me. It was kind of depressing to think that I could travel all the way to Oz and still be just unpopular as I was back in Flat Hill, Kansas. I didn't know where to go next, but to Emerald City seemed as a good place to start as any. That's where Dorothy had gone for help. The road would take me there. It wanted to take me there. Oh, shit. Sounds very kinky.